So thank you all for coming out today. I want to thank you all for coming and coming to Karen's kitchen. Karen, where are you? We want to thank Karen for her wonderful food. So give Karen a big hand. Yes, thank you, Karen. And I just want to thank all my friends and family who came out. It's we've only been back, in the community for about 3 years, and it's so good to see families and faces I grew up with. And right now is a good time to just serve and help the community, right? I moved here in 1975, so that you can do the math, and we wanted to go on and on after. So I think, getting involved for me was important because I wanted to support my fraternity brother and my friend, George Lofton. He's been serving on our trustee board, and look, Flossmoor's had a couple of up and down years through the last, 3 years of recent, but George has been there to keep the ship steady and to lend his voice, his experience, and his knowledge to help key decisions that are made on our behalf. So I wanted to help him as much as I could and get him out because, again, if we don't participate, we don't get a chance to then, appreciate the outcomes that may come out if we had or had not have participated. So I just want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for voting on this Tuesday. So make sure you're going out, and if you haven't voted already, make sure you're at your polling place on Tuesday. I do want to introduce Felicia Lofton. So George was under the weather, and Felicia is here, and so Felicia is now going to say a few words on his behalf.
Thank you. Thank you so much. George and I appreciate all of you all coming out, and I'm sure Mr. Gerald Pauly over here appreciates it as well. This is what George told me to say. How's that? No, you're not seeing things. I'm not George Lofton. After standing outside in the chilly winds at the Flossmoor train station, shaking hands and a few speaking engagements, more handshaking, George has caught a cold. No COVID, praise God, but he definitely does not want to spread his germs to all of you. After all, you need to vote on Tuesday, April 4th. Early voters, thank you. Mail-in voters, thank you as well. So, this is what he asked me to say. It is with regret that I am not able to be with you at this event. Abundant gratitude goes out to Marcellus and Lori Marsh, Gerald Pauly, and Nate Lagarde for hosting this wonderful gathering. I'd also like to thank Karen Calabrese and her wonderful husband Jerry for allowing us to meet here for this fabulous event. Who knew that clean eating could be so delicious? Come back again and again to patronize this fantastic, forward-thinking new business in Flossmoor. We want to thank our incumbents, our fellow incumbents, Jim Mitros, who's not here yet, but Roslyn Mustafa, please raise your hand, as we are a great team working together to serve all of you. Thank you to Calvin Jordan for his unwavering support. And I have to say this exactly as he wanted me to say it, otherwise I have to hear his mouth. My deepest gratitude, however, goes out to each one of you for braving the elements to come out to support us. He says, I am committed to the residents of Flossmoor. We've been residents for almost 20 years here. We've raised our 3 girls here, educated them here, and they are each successful because of their foundation in the Homewood Flossmoor school system. I will continue to listen to the needs and the concerns of our residents and work diligently on their behalf. Flossmoor is a wonderful village to live in, shop in, and dine in. My goals are to be even more progressive in the areas of public safety, fiscal responsibility, and economic growth. To sum it up, I am here to serve all of you because it's all about you. You will always have a direct line to me, as was in the past. listening to you, addressing your concerns, and celebrating with you for new business openings, as well as supporting community events is very, very important to me. I want to remain as your Flossmoor trustee, and I need your vote. We can make this world a better place, working together, arm in arm, one village at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so now I want to introduce my friend Gerald Pauling, who is running for school board for HF, and I'll let him do a few more introductions.
Why don't I handle those first out of the gate? I would like to introduce a couple of people to you. One is Pam Jackson. If you can stand so people can see you. Take a look at Pam. Pam is an incumbent. She's currently serving on our HF school board. She's done a wonderful job doing the work that's required of a school board member. She actually has represented us at the Illinois State Board of Education meeting the past several years. And her contributions to the board and to our community have been unparalleled. And so I wanted you to meet her, and I'm asking that you support her on Election Day on Tuesday. We need Pam to continue her service on our board because of the voice she brings, because of the work that she's willing and has demonstrated her willingness to do, and because of the values that she holds, personally and for our community. So Pam Jackson, punch number 121 on Tuesday. Also want to introduce you to Chris Rydell. Chris, can you also stand? Chris is another candidate I am supporting. Yes. Chris is a longtime resident of the area, has lived in Homewood, now lives in Flossmoor, has put children through as Pam has put children through our district schools, 153 and 233 at HF. His son is currently an instructional assistant at HF. His wife works with our director of curriculum, so no one is as invested in the success of our high school as Chris. And the other thing, Chris has taught high school for 8 years and 4 years in his background, and now he's an entrepreneur and a business owner. And the substantive skills and experience that he will bring to our board in terms of business acumen and business strategy and the knowing his way around a boardroom, I'm really excited about the substantive experience that Chris will bring to our board as we try to manage the affairs of one of the larger employers in the Southland and one of the larger operations in the Southland. So really excited about having Chris Riddell join our board. Chris is punch number 124. My good friend Nate Lagarde, who's worked side by side with Pam and I on the board for the past couple years, is en route. He's not here yet, but we'll try to introduce him when he gets here. Nate is the chairperson of our program committee, which handles curriculum development, student interventions, all the planning that happens at HF. Nate Lagarde's fingers on the pulse of it. Nate runs an organization that you all are familiar with called WizKids that helps prepare students headed to high school, academically and socially for their high school journey. Nate is a product of Homewood Flossmoor High School. His father was an assistant principal at Homewood Flossmoor High School, and his mother was also a teacher. And we're very lucky to have someone who's been raised here and has returned to our community to raise his family. I think it speaks volume to his level of love and commitment to our school district. So we're also asking that you support Nate Lagarde on Election Day. He is punch number 122. All right. Right, he's punch number 122. I am punch number 123. 1, 2, 3. And together we are punch numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. So on Election Day, it is as easy as punching 1, 2, 3, 4, and I hope that you'll do that. Before I make a couple of remarks, I also did want to introduce Michael Rouse. Michael is a candidate for the 161 school board, which feeds into HF, and we're doing a lot of work with 161 and 153 so that we create a comprehensive educational experience for our children from the time they start in middle school to the time they matriculate through high school. And Michael is as an educator, 20 plus years as an educator. He's a math guy, so I can't do what he does or understand what he says, but I know he's extraordinarily capable and competent, and has been, in the classroom, working with students on the front lines. And I don't think there's a substitute for that kind of experience on a school board. So we're hoping that you will support Michael Rouse, and he's an incumbent on the 161 school board, and so we're hoping that you support Michael Rouse as well. He's raised his family here in the area, has sent 3 kids to HF, and 4 kids to HF, and is now serving on the 161 school board. So Michael Rouse as well. Can you give him a round of applause? And he's punch number 104. Okay. David Lanier is not here, but we're also asking that you support David Lanier. David is an incumbent. He and Michael work on the 161 school board together, and they are trying to keep their group together to continue the progress that they have made at District 161. So we're asking you to please support 161, David Lanier and Michael Rouse. And I see my brother Nate Lagarde has made his way in. I know he's coming from another event. Nate, I've tried to introduce you as best I could. I'm sure I didn't do it justice, but but Nate's got a junior at HF right now. Nate's got a sophomore at Spelman College who is a graduate at HF, who is flourishing at Spelman College in Atlanta. And like I said, Nate's really been working side by side with me and with Pam, through some very difficult years at HF. The pandemic was a difficult time for all of us, and especially for our children who were traumatized and had a very difficult experience being isolated from their friends, being afraid for themselves, for their parents, for their friends. And it's been a difficult time for them. And when they returned from the pandemic, we, as their school board and the educators that deal with them every day, we saw some of what they were dealing with. And Pam and Nate and I have been trying to work to meet the needs of our students and to intervene as appropriate, to support them, so that they could be their best, selves. I like Nate and others here. I see Belgie back there. I see Mia and Debbie Spain. A lot of folks that I went to HF with. I'm a product of the South Suburbs. I moved to here in 1979. We were the second black family on my block. And from then, I have matriculated to James Hart Junior High School, and then Homewood Flossmoor High School, and then the University of Illinois, and then the University of California at Los Angeles for law school. As I matriculated to the University of Illinois and the University of California, only when I was in those moments did I appreciate what HF did for me and how much it prepared me for the rigors of a top university and an even more prestigious law school. I was never concerned about my ability to do the work because HF prepared me for the work. It also prepared me for some other things. HF was very different in 1979 and 80. I went in 81 to 85. It was very difficult. It was very different in 81 and 82 and 83 and 84 and 85. Belgie Faulkner will tell you he could go a whole day and not see another black student. Debbie Spain and Mia will tell you that it looked very different than it looks today. But Belgie's been very successful. Mia and Debbie and Marcellus and Nathan have all been very successful because high school prepared us not only for the rigors of academia, but also for life. Some of the lessons we learned: how to look out for each other, how to take care of each other, how to care about each other, how to work for each other. Belgie was a little ahead of us, but he showed us the way. I see, the Miss Spain is here. Mr. Armstrong is here. These are folks who looked out for us, who cared for us, and who cared about us. And they cheered for us, and they sacrificed for us. And the reason I serve on the HF School Board today is because I owe it to your youth to give back and to pay it forward. I know the opportunity that HF can represent for students, and I want to make sure that it lives to its full potential of educating our students and preparing them for their next step, whatever that might be. It might be college. 80% of our students go on to college. Of the 80% that go to college, 85% stay in college. So going to college is one thing, staying in college is another. HF performs very highly in both those regards. But not all of them go to college. Some of them go straight into the workforce. Area employers will tell you that they're knocking on the HF door because they want our students, because our students are prepared, again, not just for college, but for life. And I want to continue doing the work that's required to prepare our students for their future, whatever their future is. Someone asked me earlier today, I think it was Gary, he said, hey, I know you're going to be glad when the campaign is over. And I said, well, yes, there's an aspect of it in which, this is not easy or fun to do. It's not easy to be out front where you're an easy target. You all have seen the stuff going on social media, this week and last week, and the closer it gets to the election, the more nonsensical it gets. Miss Ruby Marsh is back there, and she raised me too. Thank you for Miss Marsh for coming. So campaign is not easy. So I salute Pam, I salute Nate, I salute Chris, I salute Rosalind Mustafa, who's put her hat back in the ring. I saw Jim Mitros come in. I thought, yeah, there's Jim. Thank you for raising your hand to serve. We all know it's not an easy thing to do. But as I was talking to Gary, something else came to mind. The other thing that doesn't happen when we're not campaigning is we don't do this. And this is something that I will miss when Tuesday is gone. And it's something I hope we can do more of, getting together, getting to meet our neighbors, getting to talk to, folks we haven't seen, for a long time, and kind of commune. Because that's what we ought to be as a community. It shouldn't take an election, for us to find opportunities to just talk to each other and spend some time and get to know each other and understand how we're all doing. So I am really interested in your support on Tuesday, but more than that, I'm really interested in you continuing to engage with our community. There are 100 things you could be doing right now in this very moment, and you are here with your neighbors and with your community, and I want to thank you for coming. I also want to thank Karen. I know Marcellus did it, but I was late to the plant-based diet game. I now realize what I have been missing, because I could have sworn this was pizza, and it's meatless pizza. But so Karen, thank you. And then I wanted, Marcellus and I go back to our first day of high school together. And this is someone who has been, my dog since from the time I was, 12 years old. And he was in my wedding. I was in his wedding. He went off to California and met the love of his life. And we spent time out in California with his friends. And then he came back, and nothing made me happier there's a certain feeling to having the people you know and love be around you. And just being able to kind of see them and call them whenever I want to call them is great. So thank you. Thank you for doing this for us, and thank you for doing it for George. We are fortunate in our village, to have people who are soldiers for us. And Rosalind and George, Jim certainly, Jim's been doing this a long time. They're as I think Jim says, they're Flossmoor first, and it's really important. And the experience they bring, someone like a George Lofton, a longtime executive, at a company we all know and pay bills to, every monthly, to have someone like that volunteer his time to the betterment of our community is that's unique. And I was so happy when Marcellus wanted to do this event for George, so that we could be out there for George the way George is out there for us. And the added blessing in it was he invited us to attend because Pam and me and Nate and I'm sure Chris and Michael, we're going to be out there for you. And so we hope that you're out there for us on Election Day. So thanks everyone for coming. Please buy a lot more food and take it and come back, all right? Come back to Karen's and patronize this establishment. She's also next door. So if you need a manicure or a detox or any nature of those treatments, come back and do for Karen the way that she's doing for our community. Thanks very much. And back to Felicia and back to Miss Lofton.
I don't want to keep saying it, but we sincerely, all of us appreciate your attendance. The weather was bad. The winds were blowing. Our signs were being caught up in trees all around, and we're running around trying to pick them up. But this is the best part of our day. We sincerely appreciate this. At the trustee level, we have a wonderful team. We have a wonderful team in Mustafa, in Mitros, and with my husband, George Lofton. You know, it's not about what our agenda is. The agenda is set by the residents. You tell us what you want because we serve for you. It's certainly not about the money, I can assure you. No. But it is about community. It is about celebrating together. It's about talking to one another. It's about building bridges with one another. And that's what all of this is all about. Working together, sticking together, listening to each other, and responding back. That's what this is all about. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
So I just have one thing. Karen, would you come on out? And I want Karen to just say a few words because this is Karen's house.
Hi. Actually, you have to give me the amount of seconds you want me to talk because you give me a microphone and I can go forever. Because you see, this is the most passionate thing in my life, feeding people and teaching people the right way to eat. I've been doing this for the past 50 years of my life. You can look along this wall. I had restaurants in the city of Chicago for 40 years. I had the second raw food restaurant in the entire country in the Chicago area. And all of those restaurants closed, and my husband and I moved out here 3-4 years ago, and I'm going to be 77. He's 79. Plant works, folks. I'm still opening businesses. And we moved out here, and we were going to sit in the yard and grow vegetables, and well, we're doing that, but I don't quite know how not to do what I feel my mission has been in life, and that's teach and feed people and help people to heal their bodies. Like I said, I'm 77 years old. I haven't been sick in 50 years. I don't know what illness is. I don't know what tiredness is. All the women in my family died overweight and young, which is what brought me to this. So I'm saying all this to say, for you to understand what a commitment it is for me to be here for you and help you find your own path to health. Because people don't make the connection. I hear it all the time. Well, I don't eat much of this, and I don't eat much of that, and just a little bit of this. But what you have to understand, if I get no other point across, is every single thing that you put in your mouth is the reality of what happens to you in your life, body, mind, and spirit. And some of you have been blessed with a chip where you can eat a lot of garbage and you still be successful. But I always say, if you're successful with what you're eating, step into my world and see what will happen to you. So I'm very excited to be out here. I had no idea I was going to love the South Suburbs so much, but I can't imagine ever living anyplace else. Of course, I'm 77, I won't, but I can't imagine ever living anyplace else. I call this my dream. My husband calls it its nightmare, because it isn't the easiest business in the world, but we are here to serve you. This is what I love to do. By the way, the Wellness Center is mine next door also, and we have hyperbaric chambers and ozone bathing and infrared saunas, and everything I've done to stay healthy and vital for the past 77 years. So I invite you to join me. I teach classes. We had a free info here last Wednesday. We had about 50 people show up. I have detox classes, sugar break classes, anything that you need to help in your journey of life. So join my sign-up group. Come see me. Come eat. And I like to remind people that if you don't take care of your body, the most magnificent machine you'll ever be given, where are you going to live? Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to recognize my chamber family. So we have Terry Winfrey, who's the president of the Southland Chamber, and Bonita Parker, who's our incoming chair this year. Thank you so much for coming out. The chamber does so much for our community and all the collective communities. So if you have a business or you're a part of an organization, see if they're a part of the chamber, and if not, sign them up. I do want David Lanier to just come out and poke his head out. He's running for 161. This is my guy. Give him a hand. Just say hi to everyone.
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to say real fast that, as you guys have probably heard over and over and over, April 4th, April 4th, April 4th, vote, vote, vote. If there's anything that you want to understand about me and my candidacy, it's basically that I'm running for the school board re-election for 161. Just go to friendsfordavidlanier.com and all my information is there. The Chronicle did a really good job of actually covering all the candidates. And so I want to thank the HF Chronicle for doing that. So just watch the YouTube video. All you really got to do is just go to any candidate you want to see, and there's probably a good 10, 15-minute video to answer all your questions about all the candidates. That's really a great place, a great resource, a place to go for that. I'm going to be around. Sorry, I was just running around, but I'm just like my third stop today. So we're all trying to go ahead and make sure we get a chance to touch as many people as we can to allow you guys to go ahead and ask us any questions that you can. I see a lot of the people who I've been working with for the past, 2 months trying to get through this. I know that everybody's anxious to have this day come and go and to let the village voices be heard. So thank you again.
All right. So thank you, everybody. That is it. And you can stay. There's more champagne. There's more food. And thank you all for coming out.